Welcome to VizLab Unit 2, Data Norms and Expectations. The learning targets for this session are around understanding data responsibility, confidentiality considerations, and collaboration in data interpretation and use. Educators who participate in this course and pass the course assessment will have access to student-level data for the same students as you have access to in Infinite Campus. This access determination is in compliance with the Federal Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, also known as FERPA. FERPA requires that student data be kept confidential outside of a need-to-know basis. It is important in a school district as large as BBSD to manage who has access to data, as data is often tied to specific classrooms or schools. BBSD limits who has access to student-level data in VizLab. After you complete this training, you will have access to data for your specific students in VizLab. All educators with access to VizLab must complete this training. As a data user, it is your job to ensure that the data is used responsibly. Before you begin to examine data, please consider what your purpose is. Why do you need to see the data? Is it for progress monitoring, to reflect on student performance over the past year, to determine areas where students need additional support? You should also consider who needs to see the data. Will you be talking about the data with your PLC or with your principal? Will you be sharing data with a student or with their parent? The use of student or educator data should serve an identified need within your school or the district. You should avoid unnecessary comparisons between schools or classrooms or educators. In addition, student and educator data should not be used for any purpose outside of your job. Let's talk about protecting data. Sometimes a need will arise where it will be important to share data with an outside person or group who is not an employee of the Boulder Valley School District. For instance, a school accountability committee may request data, or you could be using school-level data as part of your school's Unified Improvement Plan, or UIP, which reports data about your school to the state and is publicly available on CDE's website. In these cases, it is important to be thoughtful about the information that you share and how you share it. You want to protect student confidentiality, so do not share scores or information if the size of the group is less than 16. Information about individual students should never be shared except with that student's parent or guardian. Personally identifiable information, also known as PII, is a FERPA term which can help us think about small sample sizes, sometimes called low N. It's possible to identify students using data other than their name or ID number, which are the most obvious identifiers, especially using combinations of other pieces of information. For example, maybe knowing the grade level and home language is enough to figure out who the student is if there are only a couple students in a school who speak a specific language. So all data need to be protected similarly, and this is why we do not report data for small sample sizes. Collaboration. When you look at data with a group of educators in your school, you can learn a lot from others' insights and thoughts about the data. This sharing of ideas and understandings of data within a school is encouraged, especially when you have a common purpose for looking at the data. Ideally, collaborating with colleagues as you analyze and interpret data will lead to a greater overall understanding of the data. In this session, you have learned how to use data responsibly and how to maintain appropriate confidentiality, as well as some of the benefits of collaborating when working with data.